Hello, my name is Eric Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about the illusion of duality explained, or actually, duality is an illusion. So many times I hear people say, well, duality must be part of non-duality, otherwise it wouldn't be non-duality. And there's so many times people are trying to suggest or imply that duality exists. Duality does not exist. Duality is a fiction. It's an illusion. To make my point, I have this loop. It's a loop of paper, not so thick, but basically if I asked, is there an inside of the loop? Is there an outside of the loop? Most people would say, yes, there's an inside of the loop, and obviously there's an outside of the loop. That's what it appears to be, and most people would take that as reality, especially as there's thickness, and so it even implies more of an inside and outside than if it was just a line. But this is a misunderstanding. This is a mistakenness based upon ignorance, not knowing. What isn't known? What's in the hand? We're taking the vast majority that can be seen and assuming, based on what we see, that there's an inside and outside. However, what isn't seen is this twist. There's a twist in the loop. And this twist is all important because with this twist, this is actually a Mobius strip, which means it's one continuous surface, and there is no inside, and there is no outside. So, now let's go back to duality. Does that mean inside and outside actually exists? No. And so, how can you say that duality is part of non-duality? Because the duality was the fiction of there being an inside and outside, and it was a loop, but it's not a loop. It's a Mobius strip, and there's no inside and outside. So with full understanding, you see that what is a Mobius strip. The loop never existed. The inside and outside of a loop never existed. It was a misunderstanding based on ignorance. And this is the way all duality is. I mean, be it the old analogy of the snake and the rope, and its old Indian analogy on realization. Now, if you mistake a piece of rope on the ground for a snake, the duality would be to say the snake and the rope both exist, which is ridiculous because what is a piece of rope. It never was a snake. Just like this never was a loop of paper that had an inside and an outside. You can't say that that duality ever existed. To think there was a duality was fictitious. It was basically wrong. And so you can't say something that never really existed must exist inside something else to be non-duality. And that's what people, when they're saying duality must be part of non-duality, or they'll get clever and they'll say, when you see no division between duality and non-duality, then you'll realize non-duality. That still implies that duality is real in some way, that duality exists. Duality doesn't exist. Duality never existed. Duality is a fictition. It's a fiction in the mind. What we see, what we experience, has never been separate. I'll conclude by referring to another analogy I use for this. There's the Pando, which is this forest in Utah. And as you look, you'll see there are many, many trees. Some are tall, some are short, some have disease and are sick and dying. Others have bugs chewing on them. Others are quite healthy and doing very well, and they're very successful. But what is missed, what is not understood, the ignorance that lies in this, is that science has found it is a single root structure. It is one organism. It is many stems sticking out of a single root. It's only one. All of this is one. Does that mean that duality, that there was more than one, ever existed? No. More than one never existed. It's always been one tree. No matter how much you look at it and you see it end at the ground and go, well, that's a tree and that's a tree, and those are two different trees. As much as the mind wants to assume this and extrapolate this and believe this, it's false. Duality never existed. It was never two. It was never separate in the first place. And so I'm hoping this helps, but if you like my videos, please subscribe, and then you'll be notified or see future videos. If you want to leave a comment, go right ahead, and thank you much.